Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Recha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Joshua, the 6th chapter. And as we went through in the 5th chapter, right, dealing with the Lord commanding Joshua to circumcise the children of Israel, as this new generation had not been circumcised in the wilderness. Now Jericho was straitly shut up because of the children of Israel. None went out and none came in. So it was basically like almost like they were under siege. All right, they basically went on lockdown to not let anybody in or go out. Because remember, Jericho is like a defense city, a fortress. And the Lord said unto Joshua, See, I have given into thine hand Jericho, and the king thereof, and the mighty men of valor, meaning they're mighty warriors. They're all, going to be prey to you. And ye shall compass the city, all ye men of war, and go round about the city once. Thus shalt thou do 6 days. So for 6 days, all the men of war are going to march around the city one time each day. The 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets, and 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of ram's horns. And the 7th day ye shall compass the city 7 times, and the priests shall blow with the trumpets. So in addition to the mighty men, you're going to have priests with trumpets blowing, right, as you go around the city. And on the 7th day, you're going to march 7 times around the city. And it shall come to pass that when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, and when ye hear the sound of the trumpet, on the 7th day that is, all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat, and the people shall ascend up, every man straight before him. This is why it was the men of war that would do this, because once the walls fell down, they would charge into the city and take it over. And that's a crazy thing right there, like to shout and the Lord bring down, because those walls were huge. All right, you can imagine it was a fortress, a defensed city. And Joshua the son of Nun called the priests and said unto them, Take up the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests bear 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark of the Lord. So you got the priests carrying the ark, you got 7 priests with the ram's horn, and you got the mighty men. And he said unto the people, Pass on and compass the city, and let him that is armed pass on before the ark of the Lord. So you have the armed warriors in front of the ark. And it came to pass, when Joshua had spoken unto the people, that the 7 priests bearing the 7 trumpets of ram's horns passed on before the Lord, and blew with the trumpets, and the ark of the covenant of the Lord followed them. And the armed men went before the priests that blew with the trumpets, and the rearward came after the ark. And the rearward came after the ark, the priests going on and blowing with the trumpets. So you have the armed men in the front, right, as it says here. Some of the armed men marched in front of the priests with the horns, and some behind the ark, with the priests continually blowing the horns. So in between was the priests blowing the horns and those carrying the ark. And Joshua had commanded the people, saying, Ye shall not shout, nor make any noise with your voice, neither shall any word proceed out of your mouth until the day I bid you shout, then shall ye shout. Now, obviously, verse 10 in a practical sense, meaning while marching, they weren't to make a sound, right? They were to just march quietly. Human nature, right? You might cough, you might sneeze. That's different. This is like to either yell or to scream or to talk. They were just to march, and the trumpets would be what would be sounding until the 7th day. After the 7th march, when the sound of the trumpet was blown, then they would all shout. But this was like while they were marching. So the ark of the Lord Yahweh compassed the city, going about it once, and they came into the camp and lodged in the camp. And Joshua rose early in the morning, and the priests took up the ark of the Lord. And 7 priests bearing 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark of the Lord went on continually, and blew with the trumpets, and the armed men went before them, but the rearward came after the ark, the rearward meaning those that were behind, came after the ark of the Lord, the priests going on and blowing with the trumpets. And the second day they compassed the city once and returned into the camp. So they did 6 days. So for 6 days, this is what they did. And it came to pass on the seventh day that they rose early about the dawning of the day and compassed the city after the same manner 7 times. So this time they went around it, but 7 times. Only on that day they compassed the city 7 times. And it came to pass at the seventh time, when the priests blew with the trumpets, Joshua said unto the people, Shout, for the Lord Yahweh hath given you the city, and the city shall be accursed, even it and all that are therein, to the Lord. So this city is accursed unto the Lord. Only Rahab the harlot shall live, she and all that are with her in the house, because she hid the messengers that we sent. And ye, in any wise, keep yourselves from the accursed thing, lest ye make yourselves accursed. So don't no, everything in there is cursed. The only thing is Rahab and her family; they're going to be preserved. No, don't touch anything. No swords, no garments, no nothing, because it's going to make you accursed. And when ye take of the accursed thing, and make the camp of Israel a curse and trouble it. And all the silver and gold and vessels of brass and iron are consecrated unto the Lord. They shall come into the treasury of the Lord. So, with the exception of the silver and gold, which are like dedicated or separated for the Lord, everything else is accursed and not to be touched or taken. So the people shouted when the priests blew with the trumpets. And it came to pass when the people heard the sound of the trumpet, and the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they took the city. That they charged, they ran up in there, and they took it over. And they utterly destroyed all that was in the city, both man and woman, young and old, and ox and sheep and ass, with the edge of the sword. They slew everything. Goes to show you, right, the spirit of the Lord. So this is men, women, children, all of that. But Joshua had said unto the 2 men that had spied out the country, Go into the harlot's house, and bring out thence the woman, and all that she hath, as ye swear unto her. And the young men that were spies went in, and brought out Rahab, and her father, and her mother, and her brethren, and all that she had. And they brought out all her kindred, and left them without the camp of Israel. So they rescued them out the city, and brought them, someplace safe by the rest of the camp. And they burned the city with fire, and all that was therein, only the silver and the gold, and the vessels of brass and of iron, they put into the treasury of the house of the Lord. And Joshua saved Rahab the harlot alive, and her father's household, and all that she had, and she dwelleth in Israel even unto this day, because she hid the messengers which Joshua sent to spy out Jericho. See, because of that, we made an oath, and because of that oath, she was preserved, as it says, unto this day. And Joshua adjourned them at the time, saying, Cursed be the man before the Lord that riseth up and buildeth this city Jericho. He shall lay the foundation thereof in his firstborn, and in his youngest son shall he set up the gates thereof. Meaning, at the cost of the life of his firstborn, if anybody was to try and rebuild this city, they would lose their firstborn when building the foundation, and at the cost of their youngest son, right, when setting up the gates. And that was a curse that Joshua basically placed. So the Lord was with Joshua, and his fame was noised throughout all the country. So everybody heard it, and they were like, "Ah, shit." Word went out, and that fear went on them. Now, later on in the future, right, because we know Jericho was rebuilt again. And let's actually read this because the curse ended up taking effect on the individual that ended up rebuilding this. And let's see, it was, here we go, 1 Kings 16 and 34. It says, in his days, let's see, who's this? In the days of Ahab. In his days did Hiel, the Bethelite, build Jericho. He laid the foundation thereof in Abiram his firstborn, and set up the gates thereof in his youngest son Segub, according to the word of the Lord Yahweh, which he spake by Joshua the son of Nun. So what this means is he basically lost his firstborn and his youngest son when rebuilding Jericho. Now, let me look at the other wordings here. Right, it says, it was during his reign, during Ahab's reign, that Hiel, a man of Bethel, rebuilt Jericho. When he laid its foundation, it cost him the life of his oldest son, Abiram. And when he completed it and set up its gates, it cost him the life of his youngest son, Segub. This all happened according to the message from the Lord concerning Jericho, spoken by Joshua the son of Nun. Now, it doesn't say explicitly how he lost them, but it could have been, in a practical sense, like, um, in building the foundation thereof, he comes to find out the next day, oh, his firstborn son, was like out in the field and was attacked by a lion and died, right? Or like, he was eating and then I don't know, something happened, fell into a ditch, I don't know, something like that, to where he ends up, losing his firstborn. So that because that's a curse that came upon him. And then when he finally sets up the gates, his youngest son, something happens, uh, uh oxen goes wild and pierces him through, just something. um but one way or another he would lose those sons because that was a curse. And that brings us to the end of the book of Joshua, the 6th chapter. Lord willing, this was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Recha Kudash. And until next time, Shalom.